Resonance with Akindara. Hello, my love. Hello. Welcome home to the Roar and Resonance podcast. I am Akindara, and I am also Sally. Welcome to the sacred space. It's been some time since I last recorded, and I am thankful and grateful for each and every single one of you who continue to support me and continue to support this space. And if you are new to this sacred space, Roar and Resonance is a powerful container, a powerful portal. Here we celebrate this and that. Here we are witnessed. Here we are loved. Here we are heard and seen. And we are willing to dive into the depths of just who we are, what makes up us. And we're willing to rise to the heights of what can be. And we're willing to live within the now of what is. And if you are returning, welcome. So much love to you. And I ask that you begin to settle in. And one of the things that I've been doing as I have been co-creating within this space is I want to co-create quality. And then channeling messages when they are coming through and providing the support from a place of fullness, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people who are listening right now, we're working, healing, remembering, is that for so long we've, in a way, forsaken our own needs, our own desires, our own wants, just so that we can fit into a good girl, good guy place, right? Persona, mask. And all for good reasons too, right? All for good reasons. It is to be accepted, being acknowledged. And what I feel coming through and I hear is forgiveness and gratitude. Forgiveness for what once was and being able to forgive. And I'm hearing it's not about forgiving so that it eases somebody else's pain. Forgiving another is to forgive, giving ourselves that opportunity to move on, to forgive and have that closure to move on. And I was thinking today on how that worked because anybody who's listening would probably be like, Sally, how can I forgive? Like, that's like BS. And I was trying to think through this and feel through this. And what I feel is when I say forgive, I want the words that want to come out are like, I forgive you for hurting me. And I forgive myself for ignoring my own needs and allowing the disrespect or allowing my needs to be ignored. And as I kept doing this and it wasn't an exercise where I was saying it out loud to the person just yet. It was an exercise simply for myself. An exercise to hold that space for grief to channel through and come from a heart-centered place. And as you can tell too, I'm having like a little bit of challenges because I think one of the reasons too that I haven't been recording so much is this integration period that we've been talking about, or the up and out, rise into the above, the down and in, the embodiment. This is like the integration slash embodiment piece period of time, and I know that is something that many of you are also going through. So I guess to take a pause right here, I really want to check in. How are you showing up to the space today? What is heavy on your heart that you just simply want to let go? The one beautiful thing about this space, be it that whether if you need that physical concrete to believe it or not, like this space, inevitably, the truth behind it is that it is a space that is very much grounded and held by Mother Gaia. Meaning, is a space that's supported. So anything that you can't control, anything that you want to let go, you have the ability to release it and just know, right? Know deep down through the voice that's channeling through, just simply being within the space, is that whatever it is that you're wanting to let go because you can't control it, or just simply wanting to let it go, know that it'll be transmuted and transformed into nutrients for your growth, for your rising, for your unfolding, for your becoming. And you sit with that for a little bit. And I think the other challenge that I'm going through is like this integration period. You know, people always share like the positive and the euphoria and the joy, or they share on social media the so-called only good. And I don't like using good or bad or positive and negative. I feel that everything, and I know that you all listening would recognize too, that they all serve a purpose, right? There's a line and what doesn't align. What is for me and what's not for me. And I suppose in this period right now, the period of contraction, the period of shedding, the uncomfortable, nitty gritty, dirty, messy of releasing, of shedding, like as we're, and it's uncomfortable, right? We can all acknowledge that it's not easy. It's not easy, commitment, devotion to let go of shackles of our own making, and shackles that we've carried that's not even our own. And there's a grief that comes with it, because what we're doing is we're leaving a place that was once comfortable, once aligned, once for us, to venture into a path that is maybe filled with a lot of unknown, uncertainty. There's a knowing that it is the path that's meant to be, but we can't ignore the truth too of it being scary. And holding that space for both of this is recognizing that this is an uncomfortable phase of shedding and letting go and grief and all, and death, rebirth, birthing. It's a messy process. And from my own experience with grief, there's days when it's like rage and anger. Other days it's just pure sadness. Other days it's just like joy. And I am being invited, and what I feel as an invitation is, how can we do this from a more heart-centered space, right? How can we do this with more gentleness and compassion? And when people hear the word compassion, they think that it's soft. You know, like compassion can be also truth. Yeah, and I was thinking like a sword can cut we pull the archetype, the sword, in one of these Kim Kranz's deck, is that you're committed to taking action, right? You're committed to a choice, a decision, and know that you can always change your decision later on. But in this particular moment, you're committed to a path, a decision. And the kindest thing and most compassionate thing you can offer is being decisive about what is it that you want. Because uncertainty, as much as uncertainty is uncomfortable for ourselves, being the one who's making decisions, but it is also uncomfortable for the people who are living around. So in a sense, right, we would think that a sword, as sharp-edged as it is, it's not kind, it's not soft, it's not... But what a sword holds is that because it is discerning, it is sharp, it cuts away through all the unnecessary to really come down to what is truth. And through truth, through honesty, through integrity, and as messy as it all may be, it is kind. It is loving. So here I am, coming back to you all, and what I've been wanting to do more is to be able to share my heart, my love to you in a place that is as raw, vulnerable, honest, unfiltered, authentic place that it can be. So here it is. Quality over quantity. And we don't have to make 100 steps a day. We can just, even one step a day is good enough. More than good enough. And what I get, I pulled some cards. And the first card, the significator card, the card that I'm trying to figure, I'm like, okay, I know I wanted to record today, but what wants to grow, expand, what wants to come through today? A particular goddess, God, guidance, spirits, and in general, as you can say, is from our council of support in the unseen world. And the card, the significator card that I pull, is this beautiful, luscious, navy blue card called the number 2, Liberty, from the Mystical Moments Oracle deck. And it depicts a woman looking towards her right, towards the future, whereas her hair, almost like the tendrils of her hair, is moving towards the left. And one of which, there's moons and stars and clouds, but one of which is like birdcage with its door open and the bird is halfway through. And I get the sense that for some of us, it's felt like we've been in a cage. Like being in a cage, and freedom is now here, but can we trust our wings to fly? Being in a cage for so long, we've almost, in a sense, forgotten how to fly. Forgotten how to be, how to live as our own individual self, forgotten how to just simply live. And now the door is open and the choice is here. And it's like, what can we trust in? And the road has been bumpy, and we've chosen ourselves each and every single day, and we've chosen to trust in our knowing, trust in our heart, trust in our power center, trust in the divine, and that the door is open now. And can we, in this steps forward, take an extra step and deepen our trust into our knowing, our power center, our heart, and to trust that it is in our nature to be free, to live as we desire, to to follow our heart, to fly, and trust in what was always there. It's a calling for confidence, a call for confidence to confidence in our own wings. And it's also a call to let go of the cage that's no more, the shackles that aren't there anymore, that we are ready to move forth. Maybe it's on just sheer will, right? Determination. And what's guiding us isn't just complete total unknown. If you were to just really, when you are going into a forest and you're hiking and you look at the night sky, if you just allow your eyes to adjust, you'll see that there are stars. Little teeny dust among the sky. And the card calls too is that being able to fly, you are being led and guided by the stars and the moon. And we can pluck the stars from the sky to help us guide our path. So this card calls for freedom. And, it could be varying stages for each and every single one of us. Some of us may be at the very edge of this door. Some of us might be at the back of the cage. Still just wondering if we can take those steps, if we're deserving of it. And something that I read recently about all the things that we're doing, the healing, the remembering. It's healing and remembering who we truly are, healing the pain and the trauma, but it's about creating the space to actually feel joy. Our capacity to feel like we truly deserve happiness, to truly deserve joy and the beauty and the awe-inspiring nature of all that is around us. So it's interesting how that works, right? Because we're doing all the healing, the remembering, and we wonder for what. And it's actually so that we can just feel joy, feel happiness. Let's see what the rest of the cards coming out are trying to tell us. How can it guide us today? I know I have some wisdom card. And I have moon dance. Where there's a woman on a tightrope. But it doesn't, I think for some of us it feels like, oh, I have to walk within this straight line. But for others but the way that I see this card and how it's coming through is to be able to dance on the strings and almost make it a comical act. How hilarious it is to be that we've chosen to be in certain situation, and how it's also hilarious that it is also our choice to leave a situation. Now we are guided and supported through our path, and it's not something so it can be seen as dangerous, or even maybe below us is actually a tarp that's going to catch us. And it's allowing ourselves to trust and surrender into the powers that are all around us. Can we trust and love and believe in the support that is with us? And it's just, are we willing to be daring? Are we willing to have a different perspective? Maybe go on a different adventure. Learning how to balance. So maybe that today, and being on a tightrope, right? You have to be careful and conscious about what you are about to do, where you are walking with every single breath. So in a sense, right now, it's not and I heard recently that Mars is in Taurus, right? A Taurus controlled by Venus. Mars doesn't like to be in Venus. It has to take action. It likes to take action. It likes to go forward. And in a sense, it's like, yes, be daring, but also be discerning. Watching out for the stuff. So being confident is a gift that we should be aware and treasure. Be brave and adventurous. Get out of our comfort zone and see life from a different perspective. And wonder, right? Just take a moment to wonder how we can be more, how can we invite more ease through this? I have the list, another card coming out, 35 with a long way home. A deep desire to be at home. What is home? Where is home? Can home be where the heart is at? Or maybe home, a physical home, right? A physical move. Maybe home is not where you thought it would be, or thought to be with a certain person, or thought to be in a certain environment, or a job, or a career. But maybe home is somewhere that lights the heart up. Maybe it's time to go on a journey, to truly remember what it feels to be in a place where you are accepted, witnessed, heard, seen, and so that you can be. These times of our life, I think we're heading through a transition period, right? And as we've been talking about for the last couple of days and weeks, is that we're waking up from just living every single day as it is, and living and dying, and almost like waiting for death to come knocking on our door so that we can see our entire life flashing before us, and then making choices otherwise. So it, in a way, it's like during these times that we've going on these different journeys, this pilgrimage, as we collect memories, fill in our house, right, our home, our entire being with what it brings us true joy, true love, true happiness. And I bring in 42-6, fourth house, home. So home, this big question of what is home? What does home mean to us? What would, if you had a blank canvas before you right now, and you were to fill it up and imagine what home would feel like, who would you invite into that space? And what would you fill it up with? I think there's a deep-seated question on what is home. And I'm beginning to learn that home is wherever I go. Home is wherever I am. And what I want to fill my life up with people who share similar values, integrity, who's living their authentic life. Soul family, soul tribe, just why this place exists. Comfort and shelter and being. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to stay home where you're currently at right now a little longer until you find your footing, until you can trust your wings a little bit more so that you can take flight. There is nothing wrong with that. Right and wrongs they're just two sides of the same coin. They're just two truths. Instead of just labeling, as society has conditioned us to think like right means that you're following the status quo, wrong if you're going against the grain. Or maybe can we just simply simplify everything to like, what will light us up? What doesn't light us up? Maybe what doesn't light us up gives somebody else a chance for maybe that's something that'll light them up. And I feel with that, what is a home? And I think that's the big question, right? Is reflecting back on truly what is a home? What is a place that we can call home? Can we find the courage to start leaving? And I find myself like, if you can just start with little steps of like, imagine where would you want to live? Look on an app and see like, oh, where are the houses there? What are the places? Look at jobs that are aligned to those places that you want to be. Or connect online with other people. And you'd be very surprised to see how it'll unfold in front of you and how it becomes more confident. So the call to action right now is like, can you come home and make it a sanctuary? Create a place to renew and to live an intimate, authentic life. Home is an emotional space more than a physical address, but both truly does matter. In the practical realm, it may be time to renovate, reorganize, or move in the physical realm or to negotiate boundaries with a roommate. Create a home that feels safe and renewing at the end of the day, where you truly off stage, excuse me, off stage so that you can drop your guard and refill your wells. The fourth house also speaks of existential homesickness, of a longing for a home you've never had. And if you don't have a map from childhood to create sanctuary, make one. And I think what's so beautiful about this line too is, as I think about legacy building and as I think about a home for my future kids, I think of, I may not have had the blueprint for it, but I sure damn well will create one for my future kids. And in a sense, right, it's like this whole opportunity to reparent ourselves, to be what we didn't have, be that resource for ourselves, and by doing so, become a resource for all of those who will follow us. And be ready to do the next layer of therapy or attend to some work around family karma. Think about how you would like to have been parented, rather than how you were parented, and use that as a model for self-care. In the spiritual realm, build or visualize a meditation place or a portable sanctuary that can be your home, and it's trusting in the safety of ourselves. Right? Can we call to ourselves being the one? And I knew this card was going to come out, interestingly enough. 53, opposition, confrontation. And right now, what's happening in the home environment is I think you're facing somebody, this feels very physical. So something in the physical realm, be it a person, an object, a career, but something very tangible in your realm right now that is opposing, that's creating friction, opposing what is it that you truly desire. Imagine like being on a tightrope and there's somebody that's just like there. And it's interesting now that I see that too, because on the tightrope there are 3 birds right in the way of the girl as she's passing through the tightrope. So in a sense, right, there's something that is very much holding you down, that feels like it's holding you down, like an anchor. And on the card on the long way home, we have 35 along in number 8, and this card coming out is 53, also 8, but reverse. And then there's an anchor in the other cards. So something is whole, and an anchor could be like, where you set your home to be, right? Put in like a physical address. But an anchor on the reverse way of looking at it could be something that's holding you down, and you're not willing to reel in the anchor and start moving forward. So something very much in the physical realm is pushing against what is it that you truly desire. And in a sense too, we can look at it as an inconvenience, or we can look at it as an opportunity. When a way to counterbalance, right, is thinking of the Temperance card in Tarot, where we balancing out fire and water, 2 very oppositional elements, the yin and the yang. And here, this is uncomfortable. So let's all acknowledge that opposition is uncomfortable. And at the same time, we can look at it as an opportunity, a challenge to grow. If you are working out or if you have been training, being challenged at a dojo, for example, take the training. You don't have to trust the wisdom of the people you are wrestling with, but you can trust the pattern itself in this great cosmic workout. You've been through this before. You've seen these patterns before. You don't have to trust what people say and do, especially in front, but you can also look at what these oppositions are. They patterns? So it's an invitation to explore, to be curious. And maybe even the situation is setting up like, I don't know, I'm hearing the like, it's me or the dog, right? It's me or that job. And it's like this dichotomy of us or them, family or work, your ideas versus their ideas. So the invitation here is to question the dichotomy, the illusion, and look for a third position, that there's the third way, a both and solution versus either or. If the way forward feels truly blocked, potentially look for another way. And sometimes in opposition, particularly in transit, says you shall not pass this way, maybe it's time to find another way. And opposition can also dare you, right? Challenge you to proceed. And it's like, I was saying, like, if let's say you have a project that you've been working on and you truly believe in it, but somebody comes up and they try to deflate your joy, create a certain set of opposition. Well, here's an opportunity. How much do you believe in it, and what is it that you're doing? It's like a challenge, a dare in you. Like, I dare you. I dare you to proceed further. So it offers us a chance to burn through the karma if you can continuously respond with compassion and tough love from your highest self, taking the high road. And I have the Hermit Crab and Tiger. So these are like some shadow cards, Plutonian cards to help with some shadow work. And what I find so the hermit crab already is finding it funny because the hermit crab takes their home everywhere, right? But the one thing that they also recognize is as they continuously grow, they may outgrow a home and they have to go find a new home. So that's funny how that's coming up in a sense, because it's like what we've known to be our home, what we once call was our home, what was once comfortable, what once felt safe. Maybe we've just simply outgrown it. Maybe we've just graduated, and maybe in that sense, right, you can take it as a sign like you've grown. You're healing, you're everything. It is seen, it is witnessed, and it is like very much heard. And I'm just looking at some cards here, the book, just to see what others. Usually this deck, it has like an invitation of sorts so that we can dive a little deeper into our shadows. The one thing I don't like is that it's not in alphabetical order, which would make it a lot easier. So 31 for foundation, home foundation. Home usually comes to, in a sense, like I feel like in what is it? I feel like it comes in, it could be harmony, it could be blissful. It's also like a foundation necessary. So it's time to explore the inner landscape. Hermit card. Hermit. The hermit sometimes has to go out on his own, with only a lantern to guide his way, a path with one light, one foot after the other. Can only see what the lantern can show. It's time to explore our inner landscape, rather than to search them on the outside. When we commit to our spiritual journey in a serious way, the energy of this card probably feels familiar, because we've been hermiting. So we all possess the potential spiritual gifts. We're all unique. We all have your unique flavor, and we all carry a frequency that is meant to come out. And it goes back to like this oppositional force. Like, is it truly like this and that, like this or that? Or is it actually this and that? You know what I mean? And like, no, like everybody has their own path to, and everybody has their own gift that they are meant to create and give and share to the world. And do we recognize and can we trust our own gift, or do we need to potentially have, are we opposing, or are we fighting these battles simply to get validated, to be seen, to be heard? And maybe, just maybe, it's now no longer time, but we can trust in our inner knowing, trust in what we've seen and experienced, and allow that to be our guide and light. And the tiger comes out, and I feel like this tiger is fierce. I feel like the tiger coming out, it's like, hey, like, we can be confident. And there's all the cards, right? There's this quiet confidence. I don't know if you've had this chance to read this beautiful book by Susan Cain called Quiet. And for many of us who are introverts, right, there's living in an extroverted world. This book talks about the power of being an introvert, the quiet confidence, and the necessary role an introvert plays in society. So now it's like lean in, as much as we may have tried to fit into the mold that society wanted or defined to be successful. Maybe it's also time to come back to what is truly our core. Maybe it is through our own inner knowing, through this introspective ways that we are able to find the path moving forward. To trust in our knowing and trust in our confidence, and allow to, and I feel like through this confidence, through this instinct to what we know, it's going to help guide us forward. And the tiger is regal. It's fearful, but it's also pretty majestic and beautiful and strong and not to be messed with, right? It's like a rose with thorns. It's a beautiful rose, but be careful when you pick it because it can bite you. And I think that's also coming to light here, is that we can be kind and compassionate and take the high road, but also we can pack a punch, we can pack a bite. And it's calling us to, really tapping into what we truly desire, this carnal, powerful, full of desire instinct. Right? Think of like Eros and goddess Aphrodite. What is your relationship to pleasure? What do you feel? Where do you feel it in your body? And when was the last time you intentionally cultivated and engaged with it? Eros is the Greek word that describes the ways in which we express our physical passion and desire. It is also an asteroid in astrology that we can look to for help in unlocking. So you can look on your birth chart, and if you type in the asteroid number for Eros, you can see where it lands within your house. Maybe that's the area that will bring the most fulfillment and expression into your life. Oh, that's some beautiful energy right there. I'm definitely feeling called to like, how do we tap into being guided by our desire? And I pulled these like Druid Wisdom card too. All right, let's see what we have. Let's start with this one. The Midnight Sky. Whenever the darkness seems too hard to bear, call on Saint Bridget to hold you in stillness and care. Carry Chrysocolla for wisdom and deep passion. I probably pronounced that wrong. But we're currently in a place where, like we were sharing in the very beginning, like this period of contraction, right? Period of uncomfortable resistance, like this period of like, all right, I know I'm shedding, I'm growing, integrating, but it's pretty damn uncomfortable. So call on your guides, like you aren't going on this path alone. Be within a community, share, and allow for support to come in. And this week has been magical because there's been some issue like with around my property, and I was able to call on. I didn't know how to handle something, so I called on my like property manager and landlords, and they was able to trust in the masculine structure for them to be able to come out and like guide it and support it and handle. But it felt like such a breath of relief to know that you can count on people and rely on people to support you when you don't have the answer. The other thing, mirror visions. Are you dreaming or awake? There is more to reality than the one we were taught to take. Add a small dash of mugwort and mint to your tea for some lucid dreaming. Really looking into our dreams, like one of the things that I've been working on is like this whole conditioned idea of like life is only composed of a few things. You're a child, teenager, young adult, you go to college, graduate, maybe even go to grad school, do all of that. But then you have to get married. And then after you get married, you have to have kids. Otherwise, you're not successful. And then after you have kids, you have to raise them. You have to send them to college. You have to send them to a good school. So all of these things, like who is prescribing what it means to be successful, what it means to be happy? Because from what I can see and from where I sit, I see people who can preach about like, yeah, kids are the most wonderful things. And I love kids. Don't get me wrong. Like I love children. I love how innocent and pure they are. But I also see the people who preach about like how amazing it is to have kids, like how you should have kids and all. They pack like a lot of trauma. Pack with so much trauma, so much pain, and like they've brought on unresolved trauma in here and they've brought it on to their children. And my question that I always want to come back is like wondering in my head is like, with what all that I know, is it really right to bring it through a child? Like we serve as human portal too. And in a sense, like we are, and these children, they chose us for a reason. Sometimes but we also have a choice to create the environment that best suits them, that allows them to flourish. How can we preserve that innocence in a way that is like this wise space, right? This confidence that they can be their best versions, so they can take a different path. And I always find it so funny and hilarious. I'm going on a rant here, but I find it so funny and hilarious when people they get so upset when you don't go on the prescribed path that they think is the best path to take, that they think is the best one that would be considered successful. And I always wonder, I always ask too, like, with all that you know at this time and all the struggles and the pain and the suffering that you've gone through, your child is telling you that they want to take a different path. Is that not something to be lauded about? Is that not something to be acknowledged and appraised and simply like applauded? That, hey, they are willing, they want to take a different path. And as a parent, as a protector, a guidance, and an opportunity to be like, yeah, hell yeah. And you know, we can go into the complexity and understanding that it's a parent's concern about what is safe, because they've gone through and they know what is safe and unsafe. But maybe it's time to, maybe even as parents, as we are on our own path and we transition to parenthood, it's also still growing and shedding away old layers and conditions so we can become even more wise and conscious parenthood. 11:44 on my clock. Bridge between worlds. This is the last advice card, Druid Wisdom. The signs of the universe becomes apparent once you've recognized the universe inside yourself. We are the bridge between life and beyond. Carry or wear a Celtic tree of life charm for protection, luck, legacy, wisdom, and peace. Bridge between worlds. And as we just shared, right, between transition from an individual, from mother or like from a wife, husband, or wife, husband, or just from a particular role, a label that society has given us. And we transition to parenthood, being a mother, father, a portal keeper. We serve as a bridge, right, between one world and the next, right? We serve as this channel for a child to come through us, like as we would with any type of projects too. We serve as a channel for the divine to work through us. And one of the beautiful things, like, to be able to respect and serve and cherish that channel, is to recognize that the divine within us, as we channel the divine, as we ask the question of like, how can I best serve the divine today? We are also that question, the answer to that question, knowing that as we serve the divine, we are actually serving ourselves. Really think on that. Like, we are serving ourselves. Serving the dreams and the reality. So like when we Ask the divine to channel through us. We are the divine too. We are a reflection of God. And that is channeled through us. And I always think too, like when we talk, I always love this idea, like God created us in the form, in his reflection, right? And I think of it like the divine created us in their own reflection. Like we are a reflection, exactly that, like a reflection, a mirror of the divine. So, however we were born, right? Our original core divine blueprint when we were born was already perfect because the divine is perfect because we are all perfect. So I think I like to hold into my heart, like, I carry God within my heart. I carry the divine within my heart. I am God. I am the divine. All around me is God and divine. Now, this entire blank canvas that is before me, what do I want to use to paint this canvas? What kind of reality do I want to create? And it's pretty. Oh, wow. So those are all the messages that I see within the cards for us today. And I invite us to share our deepest gratitude and thanks to the divine right now for just simply being here and witnessing us. And I thank you for choosing you every single day for your commitment, your devotion to your path of remembrance. It is not easy, and I recognize you, my love. I see that. It's not easy. And I see you doing it. And I invite you that if you feel so called to do so, if you are still here at the very end, you feel called and invited to do so, I invite you to subscribe, like, share, comment, follow on Instagram, check out my website. There's a free strawberry full moon, so 6/22 on June 22nd this month, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Just a full moon gathering if you want to connect in community, and so we can celebrate around what it means for this beautiful full moon. And it'll be coming right after, 2 days after the summer solstice, the longest day of the year or two, where the sun is brightened out and we are deeply being marinated and simmered and ripened. So I think that's all that I have for you today, my love. Thank you to our guides. Thank you to you. Thank you to us. Thank you to me. Thank you to this beautiful space. And I love you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Until next time, my love, it's only the beginning.